Hello crafty friends, Amanda here, and as you saw, it's time for another Craft IQ challenge, and this is where Jackie gives us 7 different layers of prompts to create our layout around. So the first prompt was a Freaky Fast Friday, and I put on the screen here, you cut pieces of paper in these dimensions. So you're going to have a base page plus these 4 pieces of paper. I'm sure they can be in cardstock, pattern paper, whatever works for you. I went back to my stash and I'm pulling this old paper pack called Huntington, and I think it just works really well with these black and white photos I have of the farm and of my father-in-law. So the first cut is 2 1/4 by 10 1/2. The second is 2 by 11, and then you have a 6 1/2 by 10 1/2 and a 6 by 8. And I had a real hard time figuring out how I wanted to place these on the base page. I don't know if it was because I didn't have a lot of variety in my patterns, or my photos are kind of large and took up a lot of space. I tried not to go and use the designer's take on this because I kind of wanted to push myself and do what this Freaky Fast Friday, I wanted to experience it. So that's what I'm doing here. Now the other layers that Jackie has given us this month is to use reverse stamp using a stencil. I didn't know what that was. We'll talk more about that later. Include 7 stickers, excuse me, journal in 2 places, emboss, add sequins, and include the color green. So as you see me playing with how I want to put these papers on my layout, and like I said, I put them on here like 16 different ways, and then I realize I need to actually have my photos because maybe that'll help inspire, because sometimes when you put photos down, you need to have that anchoring piece so that photos aren't just floating on the page. But I played with this quite a bit. I actually cut some of this off. But going back to the reverse stamp using Stencil, I saw that. I'm like, I don't know what that is. So I went and typed it into a search bar, and it brought up some different things, but I wasn't sure what it was. So then I reached out to my friend Jessica Dipzinski from the Paper Heart, and she's like, oh yeah, there's a video on that in the group that Jackie has. Well, I had been through the group, I couldn't find it. So I was like, all right, Jessica says it's there, so I'm going to go look. Sure enough, it was a comment under the prompt for the reverse stamp using Stencil. Unfortunately, what happened is I did a practice sheet. I'm like, oh, I got this. This is kind of cool. Went ahead and did it on my layout, but it didn't record. I didn't end up pressing the record button. But because it was a new technique to me, I did end up going back and recording just how I did the technique on scrap papers, kind of like how I did it the first time, and so you'll get to see from that. So now I finally got my photos out. I'm like, okay, this is how I want them. These are pictures that my sister-in-law took in black and white, images of the farm. This is the farm that my husband grew up on, and then we took over. Well, we bought it in 2004, and we were there for 15 years. And it looks a little different now. Some things got cleaned up, some maintenance got done on some of the barns. The one barn that you can see in 2 of the pictures that has kind of the lighter colored doors that open to the side, it needed to be brought up. It was sagging on its foundation, so we got that squared now. But these photos are a little bit older. I think we were at the farm at this time, but I would guess they're in the early 2005, 6, 7, kind of that range. So I got out my sticker sheet from the Huntington papers. I finally figured out how I want to have my papers for this Freaky Fast Friday. Sorry about it. It's hard for me to wrap my head around. So here is this reverse stamp using a stencil, and that was the sample on the left that I did when I was trying it. And what I learned, and you don't see it, is under my multi-purpose mat is my Versamat with the foam side up. I found for me, I needed to make sure to have that cushion of the foam to get a better image from the stencil. So I inked up the stencil. I thought the plaid would just work well with my father-in-law's shirt, and it's in green. And then ink up the stencil well, and then I just use my brayer here to push the paper into the stencil. And there's plenty of ink still on this, so I'm going to show you that I just re-moistened it, and I'm going to do the back side. And on the back side you get more of a watercolor look, but it's kind of a cool mixed media image. So you can see here where I had done it, and I thought I was recording but I didn't. My cautionary tale again on this is around the edges of where the paper is, you can see there's an edge just because there's a bump between the layer of paper and the background cardstock. I was looking over the list again, figuring out what I needed to do, and number 4 was journal in 2 spots, so I grabbed some pre-cut tags that I just have in my embellishment boxes, and I thought that I would tuck those in using tag pockets. I'll show you how I create those under my photos, because there's not a lot of room on this page, and there's really not a lot to say about these particular pictures of the farm other than how much my father-in-law liked being on the farm. He enjoyed driving semi-truck and plowing fields. I think that was his passion and his happy place. So Live Your Story, that's my title. I pulled it from one of the die cut pieces again with that Huntington paper. And here's how I'm making those tag or my journaling pockets. So you just foam tape the edges of, it can be a title piece, it can be a photo like in this case, it can even be embellishments that you kind of tuck in behind. Anything that you can pop dot up but leave a gap or a space for a pocket will work. So this photo in the lower right is going to be lower, and then my photo pockets up there will work. And then for my other tag, which has 1 sticker on it, just count that sticker please, I'm kind of going to do an angle pocket that the left side of this was the old garage or old workshop, will be pop dotted up, but then the other side will be angled back down to lay flat on the mat. I hope that makes sense. I did ink the edges of all of my papers with the pine green. That's how I'm getting, there is green, it's New England Ivy from this paper pack, but I wanted to make sure to use green as my accent, as that was layer 7 here. And one of the things that, if you haven't done photo pockets before, is I am making a stopper. You just saw I used the tag as a marker for how far I wanted that to be able to slide in behind the photo, and then I put a piece of the foam tape there and it just stops it right there. And I'm playing with this tag. I don't want to cover up too much on the photo. I don't want to hide the tag, so I'm going to move my foam piece up because the one side will lay on the photo, and then I just decided to cut that off. The funny thing is, I like it better. I don't know what it is. I like things in their boxes, so we normally push them all into the center, but this kind of hanging off to the side, I really like it. I feel like it's, it's gonna have you continue the story. It kind of draws you in. Live your story. Here's my father-in-law. Here's the photos of the farm. So my stickers are, I cut off half of that kind of banner piece and added it in with my papers. And then the flower is a sticker. There's 2 leaves. The Something Wonderful is also a sticker. I did 2 photo corners on the tags, plus that banner that I did on the 3rd tag. So I've definitely met my 7 sticker mark. And then emboss. So I thought about doing some heat embossing, but I didn't want shiny on this. It just didn't call for shiny. So instead I went and grabbed a wood grain embossing folder, and I'm going to lift these photos up. It's one of the reasons why I use ATG tape, because you can, it's a little more forgiving, you can have it come up, where if I had used a liquid glue per se, it would not come up. So I'm going to tuck another wood grain banner in behind, add my stickers back over it again, and we've done it. So I've used the Freaky Fast Friday prompt. I did my reverse stamping with the plaid stencil, have my 7 stickers, journal in 2 places, I'll add my journaling later, embossed with the wood grain. I will add sequins here, you can kind of see them peeking out there in the upper right corner, and I have green, so I'm really quite pleased about this. I did think about using a green hemp on this, but I just thought that it would make the tags too, like it would draw your eye to those and away from the photos. So that's why I did go ahead and use just the natural hemp string for my tags. So here you go, something wonderful. This prompt, it's funny, when I read through it I was like, oh, I can't do this, but I love that Jackie does this. It challenges me every time. I have another layout ready for my book. If you want to connect with me on social media, I have a Crafting with Amanda VIP group. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I invite you to join and do that now. Here's another video you may be interested in. Be kind to yourself. Blessings. Bye-bye.